Alright, what's up everybody? Swanky Games here. Uh, for those of you who know who I am, and for those who don't, I am predominantly a Horong main. What some of you may not know is that I am also my secondary, my backup, if you will, is Zafina. I think she's a very, very, very good character. Even if I do believe that the devs did her dirty in this game, and we'll get into that in a little bit. However, despite that minor argument, I still do think that she is a very, very, very fun character to play. And if you are considering a secondary or a backup, Zafina is somebody I would strongly recommend getting to know. The reason that what got me into Zafina in the first place was in Tekken Tag Tournament 2. I was getting into the end of Tag 2's life, and I tried Zafina out, and I liked, this stance right here. I was a fan of, and this stance, I liked how you can kind of do this kind of stuff. Same here. Just kind of like messing around with my opponent. It reminded me a lot of, like, if I were to put Zafina in a category, or basically if Horong and Zhao Yu were mixed into one character, Zafina would be the character I would most notably put in the middle. She's not as pressure heavy as Horong, and she's not as evasive as Zhao Yu, but she's definitely got a bit of both. Very, very strongly. The only downside to her is that her combos are not the greatest. You're probably going to get about mid-60s at best, and that's if you do like a big combo like this. If I could do it, that'd be fantastic. You see mid-60s, and that's probably the best you're gonna get without walls. But then you talk about like pressure situations. She has like this 1-3 that gets her +7 on hit, neutral, or I guess -2 on block. But the cool part is that even with that -2, she has moves like this that have that high evasion. Moves like this that also evade pretty good. This even will evade some mids, which is very, very good. Same with this back 1+2 will evade a lot of even mids. So it's those really good turn stealers. But that's neither here nor there. I just point out a couple minor notes there. And then, like this stance, like I said, it's kind of like, it's not as strong as AOP, but the stance does exist. It will evade a lot of highs, some mids, and unlike Zhao Yu, you can actually block in this stance. So if something does hit you, as long as you're holding back, you cannot neutral block, so you have to hold back to block in this stance. But it's there. Very, very good. But I love you moving around in those stances. And then, obviously, this stance is creepy, and I love that part. So, I just kind of wanted to show off a few things. First of all, Zafina is the only character that not once, but twice in my entirety of playing Tekken have I managed triple perfects in a match. For those of you who don't know what that means I went into a match, and for 3 rounds straight, I did not get hit. And those were only doable because I was using Zafina. Never happened with Horong, but Zafina, it didn't happen not just once, but twice. Most notably, like the last time I played Zafina, I got a triple perfect in red ranks. So the video's out there somewhere if you want to check it out. It's there, I promise. But in any event, Zafina is very poke heavy, so she's very much. She has a lot of really good get-in tools, like this forward 4 3+4. As you can see, it's -11, but I can go to stance. It's -12, but I'm in stance. Most characters' fastest move is going to be a 13 frame down forward 1, which, you know, so it's safe, but it's not safe. There's a couple minor answers, like Zafina can do this down 1 and punish it, but a lot of people don't know that. So, and then let me think. I'm trying to think what else. She has probably one of the lowest hitting down forward ones in the game, even still. 13 frames. It is -5, but she has these follow-ups. But easily, like, if one of my favorite things to do is getting my opponent to the wall. Oh, come on. I chose a long stage, huh? Holy crap. So I'll get him to the wall, do a wall combo. They'll try to stand up. I'll just keep doing this. You'd be surprised, this works. Because people don't realize that, like, all they have to do is stop moving, and some people will never stop moving. And that's one of those things where it's like, if they move, they can't get out of that. It's just nothing they can really do about it, unless they tech roll. And some people just don't tech roll for some reason. So stuff like that becomes possible. This down 3 is on the cusp of being seeable, but on block it's only -13, so it's not too bad. And on hit it gives you a +4, so it you know, can't be interrupted by this, at least by this one jab. Though I guess one major downside to Zafina, on top of the fact that her combo damage is kind of lacking, all of her main key tools are somehow either punishable, C and reactable to like ducking it, or locked behind a stance. This move right here is freaking broken, but it is behind a stance, and I love this move. I abuse the crap out of it in matches. Do stuff like that, get a lot of chip damage. And then, you know, people tend to freeze up, so I'll do something like down 3 or something to kind of keep pressure up. Very, very awesome stuff. Stuff like that. Let's see what else. Zafina is kind of a complex character. She has a one jab here and a one jab from Scarecrow, which is this stance right here. I like that sound effect, by the way. You hear that? Anyways, but like this down forward 2 is -12 on block, and it's 16 frames. So her 15 frame launcher or punisher, if you will, is this down forward 3-4 and a follow up. This is kind of one of those parts where I say they did her kind of dirty. This used to be 14 frames in Tekken 7. They made it 15 frames for some reason. I really do hope they change that. Honestly, for 49 damage, there's no reason why they can't give her a 14 frame punish. This down forward 1-4 right here isn't too bad as a punish for 13 frames. She also has this, what was it? Oh, when you're in heat, this 12 frame, what do they call it? Heat burst. Pretty good. And then just really, really good. When you're in, so one major gimmick that I don't agree with, she has a bunch of moves with these claw hands, and they did buff it they did fix it a little bit, so she's not losing as much health as she used to. But she still loses quite a bit of health using the claw. Like for example, that back one takes a lot of health for whatever reason. And then other moves like and it's like, but unlike characters like Yoshimitsu and Jun, who also have a mechanic where they lose health, Zafina doesn't have a mechanic to gain it back. Both Yoshimitsu and Jun have ways of gaining health back, but Zafina doesn't. And I'm personally not a fan of an archetype that can hurt itself, but then can't fix itself. It's just one of those things. It's like, you're kind of putting me in a situation, like, especially when you consider the fact that her damage is very minor, and you almost have to use this back one to get some decent damage. I feel like I shouldn't have to hurt myself that much to get that bit of damage, to get 66 damage. Granted, that's off of her down forward too. You know, there's other stuff as well. But like, to get even like decent damage, you're pretty much wanting to use that claw to get that extra bit of damage, unless you're at the wall. Zafina is a character I do not want to have my back up against the wall against. If that makes sense. So what are the things that make her scary? I'm not going to use the fact that people don't know her as a strength, because first of all, she's been in Tekken since Tekken 6. All right. Anybody who doesn't know her that is a legacy player or has been playing Tekken since, they had every opportunity to learn this character and chose not to. As well as newer players, unfortunately, you guys chose not to learn the matchup. And that's fine. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but she's been here, just like everybody else. So I'm not, and some people are going to know the matchup. So I don't use that as my crutch. Although I'm sure it does help me in a lot of situations. But there's also the fact that, like I mentioned before, she has a lot of evasion in these tools. Predominantly high crushes and low crushes. Like this down back 2, for example. You can see she kind of dips down pretty low. On counter hit, she gets free follow-up. Stuff like that. And then very, very good get-in tools between forward 4 and forward 3+4. Forward 4-2 is pretty good as well. +1 on block. It is a high though. That's the main issue, but it's also homing. So if they're not ducking your get-in, this is a very abusable tool. You have moves like this back 2 here. -5. It's kind of on the longer side. You get, as you can see, I think she's supposed to get something there. I'm not really sure. I don't think so. Unless I'm missing something, that's pretty much it. Maybe that, you know, get that frame data. so you can basically put them in that frame trap. And that's the other thing too, is that if this thing right here is really ridiculous. This is probably the move that got me most of my wins. Right here, finding a way to use this and to running 3 into another one, so I can get some really crazy damage. Pretty decent damage off of it, and that's after you get into heat and use it to get out of it. So just like, let me think. So if I go into heat, pretty much use it. Then I use this, and then say they hit into me. And I do something like this and get that extra bit of damage. And that stuff stacks up quick. Very, very quick. This right here is probably one of our best tools, 443. It's only 20 frames to come out. Some people might be like, well, that's kind of slow. But also, when you keep in mind that one of my favorite moves to use with Hwoarang is forward 3 as well, which is also 20 frames to come out. That gives you +6 on block. This is pretty good. And then what's more is on counter hit, this gives you +14, which is just what you need to get that off. And look at that, 52 damage. That is ridiculous. So one of the things I like to do is something like this. And just like that, I took half her health, even though she blocked most of it. Over half her health blocked, and I still get to apply more pressure. So it's like, if I happen to get this, at least half their life is going bye-byes. That's if they block everything, which is awesome. And so it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, her pressure's not the same as Hwoarang's necessarily, but with the pressure that she does have, she's gonna get damage on you whether she hits you or you block her stuff. You're getting hurt. And then all it takes is one of these minor little pokes at the end to finish you off. And that's what makes her so scary, is that you won't even be thinking about the chip damage she's doing off of moves like this.
It's over.
And then by the time you realize it, I do a down back 3 and you die, pretty much. It's ridiculous. Zafina has been done dirty in this game, 100%. But with that being said, she is not weak at all. Even from the standpoint of the fact that she's been nerfed, I don't think she's overpowered, and she could definitely do with some buffs. She's definitely, I wouldn't put her in top 15 or top 20, but she's not the weakest character in the game by far. Not even close. She has plenty of tools to keep her in the game. Her biggest hurdle, her biggest hurdle is her combo damage. Her comeback potential is a little bit on the lacking side. But if she can get going and throw you off with some of these minor pokes here and there, good luck. I'm trying to think. Her movement's still pretty good. If you don't know, she used to have probably the best movement in the game in Tekken 7. Supposedly they nerfed her movement. I guess maybe this last patch they fixed it, or at least they made it slightly better, because I'm doing these backdashes and it's not as good as Tekken 7 for sure, but it's still pretty good. She's got a pretty good sidestep, like maybe not as good as Lily's, but it's second at least. Very, very, very good sidestep. One of my favorite things to do is sidestep down forward 2 or sidestep down forward 1-3. These really catch people off guard. Very evasive. I don't know why, but when I do a sidestep into down forward 1-4, this hits a lot more often than it should, and I feel like I evade a lot more than I probably should. But it works, so as long as it keeps working, I'm going to keep doing it. So very, very big thing. Like I said, this move, it does a lot of self-damage to her. She gets like half of it back when the move is over, which makes no sense to me. But the move by itself gets 50 damage. On counter hit, it gets like 52, which is like nothing, which is just kind of stupid, in my opinion. But once she's in rage, this move can get some pretty ridiculous damage. Kind of between the two. This move alone is its own little mini combo. Even on its own, getting 50 damage is kind of ridiculous. So they said this is kind of the main thing. Like even with Horong, one of its easier combos gets him about 70 damage. And with Zafina doing the most advanced combo I can think of, she doesn't get that far. I can maybe get 64 damage off of an easier combo, but she does have pretty good counter hit tools, I would say. This move right here is a very, very important tool. 60 frames to come out, counter hit launcher. Between this and 1+2, 4. On block, these are both unsafe, but that's the mind game, is do they hit on the first hit or do they hit on the second hit? And if they're trying to punish you on the second hit with anything more than a jab, then you have another attack to throw out. That's -11, but this whole thing becomes a launcher if they try to mash at the wrong time, which is really, really cool. Holy crap. And I just got 80 damage because somebody mashed. So, kind of a big thing. So, kind of like, that's kind of the same archetype with Horong. Like, when I say these things out loud, it makes me feel like I'm talking about the same character, because you're kind of hoping somebody's going to mash into that. But unfortunately, if they don't, then you're putting yourself in an unsafe situation, potentially. Same with like this down forward one string. It's a very, very important tool that you want to mix up with down forward 1-4, which is a -13 on block. It does have a third extension that's also -13 on block, but on counter hit, the second attack is natural, wall breaks in pretty good damage for what it is. So, not complaining at all. The first two hits are always going to be natural. So, really love this. Dynamic. And then I guess we should talk about her stances a little bit. So Scarecrow's probably her main stance, and again, kind of reminds you of a particular character who also stands on one leg. I don't want to name names, but she has a little mid check here. It's 13 frames to come out. It is -6 on block, but it also has a follow up. So if you are trying to keep your opponent honest, you throw one out, see what they do. If they like to mash, then you throw the other button out, and there you go. She also has a low kick. It's 18 frames. On hit, it's -3. I don't care for that until you realize that on block. Now the high can be ducked even on hit, which I think is kind of dumb, personally, because you're essentially putting yourself in a situation where you can't really block at all anyways. But if they do block it, you're essentially at +3, which is really, really good when you have a 10 frame jab or a 14 frame high crushing mid. Or an armor move, for that matter, an armor launcher, or I think, yeah, I was gonna say this one is not a counter hit anymore. My bad. But even still, pretty good. Pretty good for what it is. What you're really looking for out of that, though, is the +6 on block, whether you go into stance or not, so that you can apply more mix-ups. This is really good. Your main tools are going to be your one jab, your down forward 4, this is your low, and your 2-1. These are going to be your big main tools. You also have this 1+2 to kind of keep your opponent guessing, as well as this, the extension for the one jab, which will put you in Tarantula, which we'll talk about in a moment. So then you have Mantis stance. This is the stance you're seeing now. Cool part is that from Scarecrow, you hit down 3+4, she'll kind of do this little roll. Or if you're if you do her while standing 2, she'll also do that roll and go into Mantis as well. And it's not so much that there's any tactical reason to use them, but it is kind of it kind of looks cool. That's pretty much it. Or like if you throw this out and you think that they're gonna block it, you hold down and you get away from them. So if they try to punish you, you kind of get away from it. And they have to know that that is there. They have to know that you're gonna do it, and they have to chase you down to punish you for this. I think that's kind of a cool dynamic. And then from here, you have, like this down 4 right here, which, reaches from half screen, which is ridiculous. You also have down forward 4, which is a mid homing move. -5, but it leaves you in Tarantula. Good luck hitting you with most highs and some mids. And then, jab at their feet with this low right here that for some reason on counter hit gives you a guaranteed follow-up. You also have this 3 here that also gives you a guaranteed follow-up. I don't even think, I was gonna say, that's not even on counter hit. So just stuff like that. And then from Mantis, your main things are gonna be your 1-3, your 3-1 actually. This is an interesting thing. So this is a low mid that is a counter hit launcher that is safe at -9 and leaves you in Mantis. So there's a lot to unpack with a move like that. You get about 72 damage. It's kind of ridiculous the way this move works. I love this move. Like, of course I would love it. It's basically free damage. Trying to see if this will work. Stuff like that. Come on. I didn't think so. But I'm sure stuff like that will are usable. So minor. There's a fairly minor spoiler alert I'm about to mention. I'll put a timestamp in the description. If you haven't played Tekken 8 story mode, I would strongly suggest skipping this next part if you don't want any spoilers. But I feel like enough time has passed where I don't feel too bad about bringing it up at this point. So I'm going to mention the spoiler in 3, 2, 1. All right, so if you guys don't know, or if you guys are still around, you probably already know, the devs did Zafina hella freaking dirty in the story mode. All right, so there was a part in that where Zafina basically gets offered up on a silver platter because Kazuya says so. It's not confirmed 100% that she's dead, but I think we can pretty much assume that she died, and she didn't even fight back. Like, that probably irked me so much. Like, she did not even get a chance to fight back. I get the story mode is very straight lined and all that, but I would have loved to see what they would have done for Zafina in the story mode to go up against Kazuya. And even though we would have lost technically, I would have loved to like see how they could have done that. But then another character died, and at the very least they fought back and they hurt Kazuya. Like Zafina couldn't have let Zafina to get something in. But the other character is definitely dead. They are gone. So I feel like they did that character dirty as well, but they also did that character a lot of justice because of the aftermath. But with Zafina, they really did her dirty. They took away a lot of really, really important tools. Like, for example, in Scarecrow, this back 1+2 right here, we need to have this outside of stance. This was a move that they used to have for back 1+2. And guess what? There's nothing there now. There's no reason why this move is not why this move can't be used outside of stance. Why can't we have this from both stances? I mean, it's cool that this is +3 now, because before it was -2. But maybe that could be the trade-off. If you do it outside of stance, it's minus on hit. But if you do this in stance, then it's +3 on hit. They can both be -17 on block. I really don't care. This is a very abusable low, despite that. And most people still aren't going to launch it. So, that's a move that they really need to give her back, in my opinion. There's a lot of cancels, like this, for example. You used to be able to cancel this into Mantis. It's not a super fantastic point, but it's a minor thing. Like, why did they take that away? And then this down 4, 3, 4. This needs to be 14 frames again, 100%. There's no reason that is 15 frames. Zafina's punishment is not broken, and this isn't going to make it much better, but it'll at least be something. Let me think, what else? Give her some freaking damage with these attacks. Like, I'm not saying that they need to like break the board or anything like that, but especially because she doesn't get health back, because, you know, aside from recoverable damage, make these hurt. Like this one too. Like on release, the just frame for this move was significantly tighter, but it did like 10 more points of damage, which meant at the end of a combo, this did ridiculous damage. And they thought it was too much. So what did they do? They gave her 3 frames more, or 2 frames on either side of the input, and dropped it down. So at the end of a combo, it only does about 10 damage. If I'm losing damage, I need more than 10 damage at the end of the combo. That goes for this, that goes for this, and that goes for this. Like, if I'm using those moves and dealing my damage to myself and no way to get that damage back, this stuff needs to hurt. Maybe not Death Fist level, necessarily, because these have other uses, but they need to hurt. I need to be incentivized to use them. And the sad part is that in some situations I'm gonna use them. Especially after like this wall rising or wall running 1+2. I'm gonna want to use this down forward 1 because it's the best follow-up. It's not the only follow-up. You got this, for example, but why would I want to use that when I got this? It does 14 more damage. So that's just one minor point. You know, there's other stuff as well. For example. So it's like, I still want to use it, but it's like, I feel like even this, honestly, should probably do 30 damage on right there. Like, so that should be a total of 50 damage. Minimum. Especially if I'm hurting myself. If she doesn't hurt herself, then whatever. But that's just me. Maybe I'm biased. Maybe I do think Zafina is a very beautiful, amazing character that they've made, and they brought her back in Tekken 8 basically to shit on her. I don't agree with that. It's kind of one of those situations like, you did her so dirty, why did you bring her back? But she's still an amazing character. She's still strong enough to hold her own. She's still got plenty of things going for her, and with the right pilot, she can get you pretty far. Despite the fact that a lot of people don't know the matchup, but especially if you're like a Zhao Yu or a Horong main, if you need a secondary character and you're okay with a female character Horong guys, Zafina is definitely a character I would recommend, for sure. And she doesn't have that heavy of a move list. You know, Horong has 140. I think Zhao Yu has about the same. And then Zafina has less than 120. But I just kind of wanted to rant a little bit. This character needs. I want to work on getting this character a little bit more love on this through this channel. Maybe meet some people who already appreciate this character for who she is. And I'm going to start really using her more alongside Horong and a couple other characters that you guys will probably be starting to see me use in the near future. But that's going to be pretty much it from me, guys. If you guys want to see more stuff like this, make sure you guys like and subscribe. It lets me know that you guys are enjoying this stuff. And I apologize, this is a little all over the place. It's not scripted or anything like that. It's just, I was playing ranked, and I got a 21 win streak that I still have. And I feel like some of it's because people don't know the matchup, and I would really like to see this character get a little bit more love overall. If I could play a small part in getting her, that love, then I'll consider it a win. But if you guys do like to play Horong, Zafina, or any other Tekken character, and you guys want to be part of a community to help grow or get into GGs, if you're friendly, consider joining the Discord. I'll put the link in the description. But aside from that, guys, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for listening to my rant. And I'll catch you guys in the next video or stream. Take care of yourselves. Happy gaming and peace.